Welcome back. This is the part 2 on problem solving using conversion factors. So the first video we learned how to do a one-step problem, and now we're going to look at doing two-step problems. So these could be 2 or 3 steps, just depending. And so first thing we're going to do is just review a little bit and then just work some problems. The best way to learn these and to get good at doing them is to practice. So sometimes you don't have a direct relationship between one unit to another, like 12 inches in a foot. Okay, if you're going from inches to feet, you have a direct relationship is what I call it. Sometimes we need 2 steps in between in our plan to get to where we want to be, get to the unit that we're looking for. So we have to have 2 or more conversion factors that are going to be needed to get us to the goal, to get us to our product or our answer. So remember from video 1, when you set these up, you always write out what you know first, okay, and then you have to set it up so that your units cancel the ones that you don't need to give you the one that's left over that is the unit that you want up top in the numerator. When you write out conversion factors, so I mentioned this in video 1, if you're in my class, there's a table, and I'm not sure if I guess I could go back and show it again real quick. But you should hopefully already have this printed out. If you're in a different class, you can find this anywhere. So they're anywhere online or any textbook. Okay, and so this is what we're going to be using though. So I would have this handy for this video. All right, so let me get back to where we were. Okay, so we want to know how many liters are in a pint, 1.0 pint. Okay, so we are going to write out the 1.0 pint would be the first thing we do, is always write out what you know. Okay, and then I'm going to go look at my sheet, and I'm going to see, okay, how could I get from pints to liters? Okay, if you look at your sheet, you should see that, find pint, and you see, okay, I have a quart relationship. So there's 2 pints in a quart. So some of you may know that anyways. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I get to quarts, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for liters. That's what it tells me. So then I've got to look, okay, what's my relationship between quarts and liters? And then that would be 1.06 quarts in 1 liter. So I have 2 conversion factors. And remember, these we can write as ratios or as fractions. Okay, and you can write them one way, or you can flip it over where the other number, they flip-flop between numerator and denominator. Okay, how you plug this in is dependent upon what you start with and the units having to cancel. All right, so we're going to first write out the number exactly from the problem, or the number that you measure, say in the lab or whatever, but these are word problems. So we write the number out exactly. I have 2 sig figs. So I have 1 pint, then I write my multiplication sign, and then I put in my first conversion factor. Okay, pints goes on the bottom because my units have to cancel. Exactly. So you can't do it the other way, because then you're going to be canceling the wrong unit. All right, so that's my first step. So now I'm to quarts. So if the problem had asked for quarts, then I could stop. Okay, but it asks to keep going. Okay, so I draw another multiplication sign, and now quarts is in the numerator, so I have to put quart as my unit in the denominator for the next part, for the second step. Okay, that way my units cancel, and I'm left with liters on top, not canceled out. We are asked to find liters. Okay, so if you put this in your calculator, you may get a big long number. Okay, and there's my unit of liters. Okay, and now I've got to report my answer to the right number of significant digits. So if I look at my measured number, that's that 1.0 pints. Remember, these other conversion factors, those are exact numbers. They do not play a part in the sig figs for your answer. Okay, so we look at that measured number that we're given in the problem, and I see I have 2 sig figs. So I'm going to have to round my number to 2 sig figs. So my answer should be liters for this problem. All right, here's some extra practice that I've come up with. So we have 175 pounds, so the very first thing I'm going to do, often I don't even look at my sheet or anything, I just write that out first, draw my multiplication sign, and then draw where I'm going to put in my fraction. All right, so then I look and I say, okay, I'm looking for kilograms. Okay, and then it wants me to do also find grams. So I'm going to show you a couple of things here. But if you look at your unit factor sheet, you will see that you have 2.20 pounds in 1 kilogram. All right, so that 2.20 goes in the bottom so that my pounds will cancel. I'm left with kilograms. I think I get 79.5. Okay, I have 3 sig figs in my measured number, and so I have to have 3 in the answer. All right, I could do 2 things to get grams. So I could just keep going from here. Okay, this is where you have to know your metric prefix. So kilogram, okay, gram's my base unit. Okay, I know that has to go here because these are going to have to cancel to leave me grams. Okay, so this is where you have to know your prefixes. So there are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. Okay, remember kilo is 1,000 times. Okay, so in 1 kilogram you have 1,000 grams. Okay, so then all you did there was move your decimal place over 3 times to the right. So you get 7.95 times 10 to the 4th power grams. Okay, often there's more than one way that you can do these problems. So one way, if you were just wanting to go to grams on your conversion factor sheet, some of you may have already been thinking this. Okay, we can go directly from pounds to grams. There's 454 grams in a pound. Okay, and so I would set it up where grams is on top, pounds is on the bottom, so that they cancel. And you're going to get about the same answer. So if you get, a little bit different or something, that's just some error in the, or not really error, but they're going to be close enough. So how they rounded the conversion factor. All right, so that would be another way that you could go about finding grams. All right, now let's do a volume unit conversion. Okay, first thing I do for anything, I write out 50.0, don't shortchange your sig figs, write it exactly, gallons, and then I do that. And now I go to my sheet if I need to, and I start to think about, okay, what could I do to get from gallons, and I'm trying to go to liters. Okay, so get your sheet out. Make sure there may be a couple different ways to do this. Yep, I showed 2 different ways. All right, and the one that I did, because the first one, because I knew the conversion factors, I didn't have to look, is I did 1 gallon. I know there's 4 quarts, so that's just something that I knew, 4 quarts in a gallon. So then I cancel gallons. And then I know if you look at your sheets, you have 1.06 quarts in 1 liter. And so quarts cancel. Okay, so you plug in those 2 conversion factors. You get from your 1 unit to the one you're trying to find, but you can't get there directly in some cases. Okay, and so now if I get my answer here, I need 3 sig figs because I have 3 in the measured number, and that would be one way to go about this problem. Okay, you could make this problem a 3-step problem, so this would be the shorter way. Okay, but if y'all bear with me real quick, I'm going to erase this. Okay, so there's another way, so, and both ways are fine. So okay, so in 1 gallon there are 4 quarts. So I'll do the same thing there that I did earlier. Okay, if I didn't have that conversion factor of liters in quarts, I could look, and in 1 quart there's 946 milliliters, so it just depends on the table that you're using for this. Okay, and so in 1 quart, quart has to be in the denominator, so the units cancel. I have 946 milliliters, so this would be a good way to get from gallons to milliliters. Okay, but I want to go to liters, so I know milliliters, that means 1,000th or 1,000th. Okay, so that means I have to have 1,000, whoops, made that too many, 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. Okay, so then that cancels, and my answer should be the same, and I get 189 liters. So 2 ways to go about the problem, and this just shows a 3-step problem instead of a 2. So you got to think about your plan, know where you're starting, what units you're ending, and cancel your units in those steps, okay, to leave you with the right unit that you're looking for and with the correct number of significant digits based on the measured number that you're given in the problem. All right, I hope this helps, and I'll see you back soon. Thanks.